on Talora Tales. Our heroes, who still yet do not have a name, and I will make sure to mention that every single time until they do, meet their contact at the Southern Crossing Tavern, where Jolin, their heroic and rather vastly experienced leader slash employer, leads them over to the Dwarven Canals, where he says that the target Longfinger has been set up, and he has witnessed a handful of his men moving in and out of a particular brewery. As our heroes arrive, they go about trying to secure a little bit more information. Braynoon traveling to the shop next door to get a little bit of info from the florist there, who seemed rather eccentric at best. Sven travels to a nearby tavern or bar to attempt to procure some materials for himself, which he does not succeed in. And Quinn and Thomas make their way into the brewery with some shady and somewhat bombastic approaches, as Quinn puts on a rather convincing play show of a union representative as he stalls the main man at the desk, and Thomas, who has put his consciousness into Mr. Sparkles, slinks into the brewery. In his attempt to set the brewery on fire, Mr. Sparkles is spotted and chaos ensues as our party that is always full of well thought out and meticulously crafted plans leap into action. Everything very quickly dissolves as Sven strides into the brewery, almost makes a friend of the gentleman running around inside before Jolin stabs the man to death and a combat ensues. As another man is killed yet again by Jolin, the leader of this small cluster of men come outside and diffuses the situation. After a very brief back and forth between him and Braynoon, it is agreed that they shall depart the brewery and reveal that Longfinger is down below. Our party then descend the hole leading down below, finding themselves in an ancient dwarven something, but it's more or less easy to assume this is some sort of tomb. As they reach the bottom of a very lengthy spiraling staircase, there is the strange and consistent sound of squelching flesh that puts most of them on edge, but potentially not all of them, which is not foreshadowing whatsoever. As they are slowly making their way into the underground environment, they hear the faint mumbling of infernal conversation, Thomas picking up on it as they progress down the hallway. It is potentially an easy assumption that they have now found the target they are looking for, which spurs the majority of the party forward and lets Jolin and Sven separate off for shenanigans. These shenanigans very quickly lead into Sven opening / allowing a door to be opened into a creature with many eyes, mouths, and a taste for dragon-kind flesh, I assume. As our rather extraordinary and beautiful sorcerer is blinded by this creature, he stumbles into the room directly towards it, and we are now begun this hopefully somewhat strategic combat. Sven, you were just struck by this blinding spittle. You have been blinded, and you have stumbled forward into the room you had just revealed, feeling your feet stepping on that weird, squishy substance that seems to surround the creature that you have found. It is attempted to bite at you, claw at you, to kind of like get its grips on you, as much as that can be managed by a creature such as this. It's probably going to go ahead and attack again as we were going into initiative order. Your AC was what, sir?
Currently a solid 16.
Okay. That would be a miss. So as you can hear, the man beside you, Jolin, is also kind of fussing around the doorway. You quite can't tell if he's going left or right, or if he's behind you or fleeing. There's just that general noise, which is a little bit hard to discern with the strange, horrible, twisted sound coming off of this mound in front of you. I would imitate it, but last time I ruined my throat, so we're going to skip that part today. as this noise is assaulting your ears, you feel the weight of it again kind of falling down upon you, your feet kind of trying to shift around, but much to your dismay and also potentially ruining the amazing polish that you keep, you feel your shoes being stuck and secured and gripped onto this little carpet of flesh that you found yourself stepping upon. We're going to come down to your turn, and I'm going to need you to make a few different rolls, sir. Go ahead and give me a strength saving throw.
That is a wonderful 13.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
That's an 11.
All right. So as you find yourself trying to come into what's going on and gathering your surroundings, your eyes begin to go clear, that strange spray kind of drifting away so that you're able to start spying the different shapes around you. And as the mound in front of you is fully made clear in your vision, as you are no longer blinded, I guess I should go ahead and give you your vision back, sir. Give me one moment.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Well, nice is not completely the term I would use, but all right. As you are faced with this mound, you go to step and you feel your foot being kind of like held, but with a quick jerk of your leg, there's this like wet ripping noise, almost like you'd step on like fly paper, and you like just peel the bottom of your shoe away from the flesh, allowing you to move. And as that strange noise is still filling your ears, there's this veil of kind of darkness trying to rest on your heart. And it almost kind of makes it difficult to breathe for a moment, but you try to hold that power within you, like puff your chest out and use the, I guess, prominent vibrance of your race and your role in life to push that ichor away and maintain your consciousness. And it is your turn, sir.
So, as Sven's vision clears, this is clearly not acceptable, because that's too much gooiness. You know, you've gone over the precipice of acceptable. So with a quick no, my suede, and he'll flick out 3 fingers, mutter a couple of syllables as little arcs of electricity fork through them, and he'll try and give the old thing a shocking grasp.
Okay.
Does a 24 hit?
A 24 would hit.
Wonderful. It takes 3 lightning damage and cannot take a reaction until the start of its next turn.
Okay.
And using that, Sven will quickly scramble away back through the door, calling over his shoulder, just, yes, you can handle that one. And he'll get back over to there.
Okay, as you step back into the hallway, you see Jolan has drawn his sword. It's in kind of a crouched position, and you also see that his eyes were kind of covered in this strange substance that is kind of like wiped away with the back of his hand, and his eyes like blinking out the rest had actually gotten into his eyes. He spies you running, and you see him kind of like peek around the corner, and there's just like grim determination that grips his features as he steadies his stance. Is that your turn, sir?
And that is my turn.
All right, Quinn, sir. As you were slowly investigating the room that you stepped into, and you were hearing that same kind of strange squelching noise somewhat past the door you are facing, there is a loud shout, and then a bit of a loud enough commotion in this rather tranquil environment that you can first understand the shout coming from Sven, and then the following noise being whatever caused the shout, as you are found in your position, sir.
So that's inconvenient. What I believe I'm going to do is hide on the other side of these barrels.
Okay.
Because I would think that someone may come through this door to check out what the hell is going on, which I'm also curious about, but mission comes first, frankly. And yeah, I'm gonna hide there and ready. Lie in wait for somebody to come through that door. Do you want a stealth roll?
Yeah, what is the action that you were holding?
I don't mean ready with a capital R.
Okay,
Ready lowercase r.
got you. Okay.
You. That is gonna be. Ooh, these are prettier dice, but they're harder to read.
The hardest choice in all of D&D.
23?
Okay, 23.
Yeah.
So as you hear the commotion kicking off, as the subtle individual you are choose to hide instead of chase after what the commotion might be, finding the nice little nestling place in the northwest corner of the room. There are no lights in this room, so it's pretty easy to find a dark corner to kind of skulk in. As you secure your position, you're going to look back, and Braynoon is at that crevice or the crack that you had gone through to get into the room. He too would hear that noise as we come down to Braynoon.
Okay. Refreshing my memory on that crack. You said it was kind of a partially collapsed wall and rubble and then cracked that you could fit through. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to Thomas, and even though all quiet has gone out the window, I'm just going to, as quietly as I can and still be heard, just say, go see what happened. And I'm going to stay where I'm at. Having seen Quinlan hide, I am going to stay where I'm at. I'm going to stay around the corner, but I want to ready an action to attack the crumbled part of the wall if Quinlan is discovered.
Okay.
But other than that, I'm going to stay where I'm at. I'm not going to actively hide just because it's not really going to matter, but I'm staying out of that gap, and so. But yeah, that's
Braynoon and Thomas, give me a perception check.
I think that's a 4. Yes, that is a 4.
Okay.
Natural 20, 22.
All right. So, Thomas, as you are like half through the door right behind Braynoon, he turns around and gives you the very rushed command. You're listening both to your friend setting off some sort of alarm to your west and the dwarf in front of you, but right at the edge of your hearing, as all of this kind of leaps off into some frantic fury, that infernal mumbling that you had heard quickly picks up to like a rushed whisper. It's unclear what the actual words are because they're so mixed in with everything else, but there is the quick sound of like maybe a heavy book being closed, and then rocks kind of scuffling as something is moved up in that northern pass, and then the mumbling ceases as the noise of something moving away is what you hear. Which direction it's heading is a bit unclear, but you can tell that something was once there in the north and is now moved. Oh, and it is your turn. Yeah.
So, whispering back to Braynoon, whatever was mumbling up, it quit, and I think it probably knows we're here, so be careful. I'll try and do the same. And I'll head on down here. And without getting any closer, I'll whisper shout, "Are you okay?" to Sven.
Sven, do you want to reply, sir?
Yeah, I think Sven would just kind of give a gurgle of fear and just.
Thomas, as you see your companion, there's clearly some sort of strange substance kind of clung to his snout and around his eyebrows. He hasn't quite gotten all the strange spittle off of his face. He also has really distinct large swaths of his cloak have been marred or stained by whatever mouth or body part has kind of like tried to grab onto it. So he looks dingy, filthy, and potentially somewhat terrified.
Gonna stay right here and motion for him to come towards me.
All right. Is
That's
that your...
the end of my turn.
All right. Hmm. Then go ahead and give me another wisdom saving throw, sir.
And as I see him, oh, never mind.
22.
All right. All right. Give me one moment. Of course. I really need to stop rolling for people. This is just not great. Okay. So, Thomas, as you're looking down this western hallway and you see Sven kind of, motioning towards you as you are watching everything going on, Jolin is just kind of visible past Sven's very present form. And as you see the young man holding his sword, preparing to face what comes through the door, there is this horrible collection of calling and shouting and gurgling before this mass of slime and teeth and eyes and muscle comes flopping out of the entranceway with this loud smack kind of colliding on the opposite side of the wall as it fully engulfs the hallway in front of it. And you would feel somewhat comforted that it's looking at you and not the man that has now been separated from you, except for the fact that it's covered in eyes, so it's probably pretty intent on looking everywhere. As soon as the large mass hits the wall, a heavy thud kind of echoing through the stonework, you hear Jolin kind of let out this little squeak surprise shout, and then as you are his form is blocked by you, there seems to be no reaction from the man.
Do I still have my action or no?
No. I mean, you didn't prepare anything.
Okay.
I need to check if... All right. One moment. Okay. Oh, fuck. That's not good. Okay. Sven, as you are regaining your foot, and Thomas, you are watching this entire process take place, you hear the small squeak of Jolin before you hear the absolutely blood-curdling cries of a man being wrenched into pieces, the sickening noise of bones crunching, flesh tearing, his lungs stretching to their limit as he lets out this one last terrifying scream before even his head and his mouth and his neck are consumed, and you just hear silence in its wake, this low, crunching, gnawing sound following the obvious demise of your employer.
I don't think we're getting paid, boys.
In one hit?
He just got hit by a nat 20, and it rolled real goddamn high.
Terrifying.
So, yes. So that was the first one.
What the hell do you mean, the first one?
Okay. Quinn, as you are hidden in that room on the opposite end of this structure, there is that squelching noise that you can still hear. It's combating the now horrible cries of pain coming from the west. But as clearly life has entered this once decrepit area, whatever made that noise is stirred to life. And you hear this doo-doom, doo-doom, this repetitive thumping noise as I imagine it's something that you could pretty much assume or put into context, is the noise of a door being attempted to bash open, the hinges kind of rattling, and the lock staying in place as there's more heavy thuds in that direction. But that would be down to Sven, sir.
Well, when I see this thing, do I recognize it?
Give me a religion check.
$13.
Okay. One moment. Thomas, you have never faced a creature like this before.
Duh.
You haven't seen pictures of it, you haven't studied it, you haven't heard of something that matches this description, and the description of this thing is chaotic at best. It really is a mound of just parts of a body, apparently. The best you can surmise, just in its structure and how it's built, is it's clearly some sort of abomination or some sort of potentially after effect of a ritual or a summoning or a sacrifice or some sort of infernal tapping of power. And that's probably the best I can give you. But Sven, we are down to you. I need you to give me another strength saving throw, sir.
Strength saving throw.
Yes, and another wisdom saving throw.
That was a 10 on the strength, and wisdom 12.
Okay. You are good, sir. Do as you will.
I'm not really cool with you asking me for those each time. I'm starting to wonder here.
But yes, you would hear your wonderful friend Jolin being devoured in the most primal sense.
Yeah, so he's gone. All right, well, there's really nothing holding me back here other than my own ineptitude. Yeah, Sven, in his almost animalistic panic, is going to fall back on his reflexes as Dragonkind and just take a deep breath and then pop his mouth open and fire off his breath weapon, Dex DC of 11.
Oh, I'm sure this thing has a wonderful dex. Okay. It succeeds.
Okay, in that case, it takes 4 fire damage.
All right. So
And
yep.
oh, and then after he releases his breath weapon, he's gonna hightail it all the way back down in front of Thomas and just, Thomas, stay behind me, and go ahead and activate up his blade song.
All right.
Just start vibrating and.
So as your roar of fire is met, or I guess paired with the demise of Jolin, the mound's attention seems to be mostly be on the thing it is currently digesting. As you blast its backside with your flame, you see that exposed bit of flesh almost kind of cauterizing or burning, becoming charred in a little bit of the surface that you managed to hit, as you are quickly backstepping while blasting this thing with flame, eventually making it back to Thomas as you fill the hallway with your song and prepare for what is to come. Now we are down to Quinn, sir.
So I am going to produce a pouch of caltrops and scatter them here.
Okay.
And I'll also send. Can I not? I was doing this yesterday.
What are
Not
the
yesterday,
effects of
last time.
caltrops, just so I know?
That's what I'm working on getting. There we go. And then continuing to hide.
One second. Okay. Good to know. We'll keep relying on your stealth check, the first one you rolled.
Okay.
Okay. And you're not reacting to anything that has happened so far?
You know, I remember that hallway. I don't really see what I could do in there other than block somebody else's path. So I gotta hold what I got.
Okay. Okay. Give me a moment. Who's up next? Brandon, you're up next. Give me 1 second.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay. I think. Sorry, I'm checking some crap. Yep. Okay. Braynoon, as you hear the horrible cries of Jolin and you don't hear anything from Quinn, Thomas and Sven reunite, and as soon as you glance down to see the two wizarding classmates pair off, the world around you goes blank, completely black, devoid of light, as you are cast completely and utterly into darkness. Both Thomas and Sven, you would have the exact same effect, as all the world around you disappears. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all of your vision. That's looking spicy. All right. And probably Braynoon, give me a perception check.
Is this at disadvantage?
No, this is relying on hearing, so I'll allow it straight.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad. I believe perception. That is a 17.
Okay. So as
18.
you... Okay. As your eyes fail you and you no longer are putting the stimulation towards that sense, you rely heavily on your ears, kind of like reaching out to get your presence on the walls that you were currently near. You hear that same kind of loose stonework sound that Thomas had picked up on as something had been moving up to the north, but you hear it now growing closer, and it kind of stops as the hallway that you were once in leaves you. It is your turn, sir.
Well, going off my memory at this point, the room that I'm in, was it relatively clear all the way over to the east? I remember there was rubble up in the corner. But...
Yeah, so it's a square room, and the southeast corner is
Right.
kind of collapsed diagonally inwards. The northeast corner had like a few straight boxes and whatnot, but overall the room's like maybe 60 to 80% clear.
Okay. I am going to, as an action, take out my shield, increasing my AC to 18. Let me note that. And then it's not even worth it. I'm just going to shout to Thomas and Sven, come to my voice, get behind me. And that's it. I mean, I guess I will. I've already taken an action. So yeah, that's it. That's my turn. I'm not moving.
All right. We're then followed by Thomas. What do you do, sir, as Braynoon calls out to you and the world is dark around you? You were muted, sir. You are muted, sir.
I can't cast Magic Missile because I have to actually see it at this point, right?
Yep, that is the bitch of being blind.
Yeah. So, I mean, I imagine my spatial perception base would be good enough to run to the voice.
So
to
there's
walk.
there's no ruling about moving in darkness. What I might say is that because you just moved from here, it might be like difficult terrain, but I still would probably say that's fine. If you wanted to run behind him.
Yep, that works for me.
Okay.
And that will be the end of my turn.
You don't want to ready anything or whatnot?
If I ready something and then I don't use it, I lose the spell, right?
True, but if you don't ready anything and die, then
Yeah.
Well, then you luck, I'd have to die first. So
I first created
If you
I
have
don't
a damage cantrip, then that won't waste a spell slot.
Yeah, I'll ready. That's a good call. I'll ready firebolt if I see anything hostile that comes into my field of view, either in front of me, in front of Braynoon, or where I imagine Quinn would be.
All right. Do you care to describe to me what it looks like Thomas trying to stumble to Braynoon in the dark and then scramble past him?
I don't think that would be too hard for him to have done. He's navigated through the dark room so as to not wake up Svenjamin many a night. So using his other senses to navigate wouldn't have been too hard. He would have gone slower, hands out in front of him, felt the wall, probably put his hand up on Braynoon's beard, and okay, and then got behind him. But it wouldn't have been anything too difficult, I could imagine.
All right, so Thomas, you are back into safety as far as you are aware. Actually, let's see. All right. Quinn, as you are still hidden and you hear your companions working together down to the south, that continual bang, thud, bang, eventually splinter, crack, smash, and you hear whatever was holding back the thing to your north shatters, and there's that same horrible, strange symphony of disgusting noises as this squelching is now a lot more prominent and quickly growing closer to you. Okay. Actually, one second. Okay. How far is that? Yep. Okay. If you are blinded by darkness, automatically fails any ability check that requires sight. Does a dexterity saving throw qualify as an ability or save that requires sight? I imagine that.
so
Well,
saving throws aren't ability checks,
Yeah.
technically. So, but I don't know.
I would say that if you're blinded, you're trying to do a dex save, it'd probably be either disadvantage or a straight fail.
I would like to point out I am in a hallway,
Mm-hmm.
so I only have two ways to go, either backwards or forwards.
Well, this isn't a matter of where you're going, it's a matter of you can avoid something coming at you.
You can react to something.
This thing is squelchy in nature as it moves.
Yeah.
Would it be making enough noise for me to hear it get closer?
For now, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and give you disadvantage on your dex save instead of an auto fail. So if you want to give me that, sir.
That is probably fair.
I mean, do I want to? No, but
Because it's
I'm
more
fair
you're
enough.
reacting to the touch and the sound rather than seeing something coming at you. So.
okay. Well, that's only an 11.
Okay. Sven, as you lose proximity with your companion, Thomas, as he scrambles back towards Braynoon's command, you are kind of like feeling the wall around you as you are in this complete void, and then this wet smack hits your face, and you feel that same ichor crossing across your eyes, this frustration brewing in you as you are now blinded and in complete darkness. Once more.
Could be worse.
It, not by a lot. And we are to your turn, Sven, and I need you to give me a wisdom saving throw again.
Son of a bitch, a 7.
Roll me a 1d8.
A 5.
You may take no action or bonus action You must use all of your movement speed to move in a random direction.
Oh, fuck me.
Give me a... It's a 50-50. You can only go east or west. So we'll do odds or evens. Evens is left, odds is right.
Alright, what do you want, like a d6?
Doesn't matter.
He rolls a 1.
Oh. I will allow it. That's actually really cool. Okay. Thomas, can you, like, I think that is worthy of some sort of description. How do you see that happening?
Sven and I, over being both magically attuned and in such proximity for so many years, we kind of have the faintest of telepathic bonds. I mean, it really isn't anything that to write home about, but if he's under great distress, I can usually feel it, and I just use my energy to channel to him where I'm at, giving him, some beacon to come to.
So Sven, as you are assaulted by the noise coming off of this mound, and you feel this panic rising up in you, and your limbs refuse to operate, your brain kind of freezes for a moment, your feet want to spur you forward, but then you rely on the high of your life, the high of friendship, a high that can no longer be denied, as the alluring stimulation of Thomas's connection to you spurs you the other way, and you thankfully find your way traveling east. I will certainly, given the circumstances, say that you can use your full movement speed to find your way to them and behind them, if that is what you want to do.
Okay, I've got 40 feet of movement, so 1, 2, 3. They're kind of like in the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And given that it's dark and I'm blinded, I think I might just push forward past them, more towards that direction, up to the rubble.
Okay.
No, I'm blinded, so it doesn't really matter. Can I kind of scramble a little bit onto the rubble? Or would that constitute too much of a need for an action?
Jesus. Give me a wisdom check, just a straight wisdom check.
Not my favorite one, but
Dude,
that's a 9.
I'm gonna say, I still have your vision off? Yeah, okay. You're gonna get to there, and that's about where you can get before you feel like the sharp incline of the rubble of the like closed hallway kind of hitting you, and just trying to take a step is so clumsy in the dark and blind, as you just cannot get your feet anywhere, as you're just kind of met almost like a brick wall. And that's your turn?
Yeah, so he'll just turn back around from when he ran and draw out his sword, just kind of like
All right. We're down to Quinn, sir. Oh,
Okay.
I lied. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Me?
Yep.
That's going to be 20. Dirty 20.
Thank God. Continue.
So, I'm gonna have to have faith in my caltrops, I think, and I'm gonna move up here to where these two are, and say, I'm not sure what's happening, but I think it might be time to go.
Quinn, as you do move south, you would see like just the backside of Thomas's robe is kind of facing you, and there is this sphere of black kind of surrounding them, and you are stepping into it, moving into that square.
Oh, okay. So where is the edge of it? Where's the border of it?
I'll go ahead and let's see if I can do this correctly. There should be an easier way to do this. It's something like that. Nah, 1 second.
Yeah, that seems like it's too high.
Oopsies.
Oh, jeez.
Give me just the
Reality
circle.
is warping.
Would freehand be easier?
Let's just say same thing, but I'll just stand here instead.
Okay, yeah. It's this general area because Roll20 doesn't want to work with me right now.
Yep.
Okay.
And while I'm at it, I'll give I'll touch Thomas's elbow.
Yeah.
Like when I say that.
All right. Is there anything else you're doing this turn?
Yeah, if I got touched,
Okay.
I would definitely scream.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. And I'm assuming everyone, even Sven, would probably be able to hear that. Fucking Christ. Okay, one moment. You guys are stressing me out today.
Yeah, fuck me up, Dungeon Master.
Yeah, we're
That
stressing.
line out of context.
Not even out. It's just that line in a different context.
What is your AC right now, Sven?
20.
Okay. 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 As you were trying to scramble up the incline in front of you, your actual noises of kicking around the stones is quickly amplified by the other sound of someone shifting in the rubble nearby. You completely unaware of where they are at as this small noise grows closer, a quick panic kind of gripping your heart, and then you hear the sound of something sharp and like rather large shifting by you. Just the slicing of the air is enough to alert you to it, and there is 2 quick jabs in your direction. You feel one like cutting into your cloak but not your flesh, and the other one missing you entirely, as this kind of low angry hiss of like and he keeps like trying to jam a dagger in your direction and not landing a blow, as you are clearly entangled with someone in the darkness. All right, we're down to Brandon, sir.
Well, given Quinlan's last statement, I would, and based on the information that I had last, I want to try to interpose myself. So I'm actually going to move forward until I basically hit this wall and then take a step down.
Okay.
And I'm just going to give the call, retreat to the stairs, let's get out of here. And I will... I think dodge requires me to see the enemy. Yes.
Okay.
So I will ready an attack action for if I get hit by something.
Okay. I will take that. All right, and we were followed by you, Thomas. You are muted again.
I'm going to move towards Brandon's voice. Is this difficult terrain?
I think moving together in a small space like this, I think I'm full, or allowing full move is fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a left out of there, and I know where the stairs were, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'm going to move down to them. Do I come out of the darkness at this point?
No. But you would find yourself stumbling up the stairs.
So I should be able. I think I should be able to make it up the stairs.
Yeah, and I think at that point, as you're ascending, you would probably just break out of kind of the top of the sphere. So your head kind of comes out of it as you look down, and your body is still consumed by the black beneath you.
And again, I'd ready firebolt for if anything, if I could see anything come next to me that wasn't one of my companions.
Okay. Thomas and Braynoon, give me a wisdom saving throw.
19.
Okay. Thomas.
What's that? Oh,
Wisdom save.
I thought you were asking for the other two. My bad.
No, you're good.
Not spend this time.
Yeah.
15 plus. That is 22.
Okay, awesome. All right, so that's there and there. Yeah, we'll do that. Does that show up? Yep. Okay. And what is? Okay. All right. Braynoon, you would hear the shuffling of robes and then quick feet hitting the staircase somewhat beside you, so you can at least confirm that one of your companions has moved past you and up the stairs. As you are holding this position, even in your kind of command of the situation, as you're trying to get everyone out and get everything organized, there is this just sense of dread building as this noise, this horrible noise, keeps growing closer and closer. It's apparently unstoppable, as you have seen small bits of damage, or I guess at least heard the reactions of small bit of damage being done to this thing. As you are holding what you assume is the last point of defense until this thing blocks you in, it begins to itch at your mind that this might be a very bad situation, but you shrug it off in the name of getting everyone out alive is no longer possible. Give me a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage, sir.
Oh, I should have taken the dodge action. Well, didn't matter. That's going to be a 4. The higher roll was a 5, so.
As you are holding your position, still in the dark, listening out, you hear this. And your face is plastered with a substance that you do not know, but you are now blinded. Which doesn't make a whole lot of a difference in the current situation. And he's out of range. Okay, Quinn, as you were held up in your room, you hear that noise growing closer and closer until a loud thud hits the door, and you see it kind of like shake on its hinges before swinging in towards you. And it swings over the caltrops that you've put on the floor and reveals what you can only assume is what the other side of the party has been dealing with, as this large mound of flesh crawls into your dark vision's sight, and all of its eyes start kind of searching independently before they find your shape, and they all go and snap open and stare directly at you. Sven.
Okay, so someone's trying to stab me.
Yep.
Can't see a goddamn thing. Not my preferred use of this, but right at my frickin' feet, I'm just gonna go ahead and with my left hand whip a quick circle with my wand and cast Wither and Bloom again. Anyone within 10 feet of me is going to need to make a Constitution saving throw of 14.
Okay. Okay. That is a failure.
Okay, wonderful. They will take 8 necrotic damage.
All right.
And I, weirdly enough, don't think I've taken any actual damage. And hoping that nothing stabs me on the way, I'm going to follow the wall and just 1, 2, 3, for until I hit the stairs.
Okay, what is your AC, sir?
20.
You've described Wither and Bloom before, correct?
Right, so writhing vines of necrotic energy
Mm-hmm.
lash out of the ground and kind of flail about and trying to grab anyone around them.
So as you, I guess, like, inject the bits of mold and mildew with steroids down here, you hear the stonework beneath you kind of crack and shift out of the way as these thick vines come leaping out of the stonework, which you're unable to see, but I'm describing it because, why not? And you hear it kind of whipping over something nearby, and there's this, like, kind of grunt of surprise and then frustration, and you just hear this, like, and then another swipe towards you, and you just hear it kind of slicing the backside of your robe, which is certainly in tatters at this point, as you are gliding down the wall using it as an aid, and you do not get stabbed once more, sir. But you would eventually run into the staircase.
And I should have roughly 20 feet of movement left
Mm-hmm.
to skitter up the stairs.
Okay, you'd probably smack into the back of Thomas.
Undoubtedly.
Okay.
So I'll just stop
Okay.
right there.
Quinn, as you hear shouting going on, you're faced with a mound. Seemingly your companions are fleeing. You found yourself in this situation.
So, do I remember correctly? You were saying it's like difficult terrain, basically, to move through the darkness.
Yeah, and since you haven't been through there in the last turn and there's no one guiding you, I'll probably count it as difficult terrain for you.
All right. 10, 20, 30. I will use my cunning action to dash, which will get me 10, 20, and then just 10 more feet up the stairs.
Okay.
Am I still in darkness?
Yes, because Thomas is out of it and everyone else is crammed behind him. So you're about to be out of it, but you are still in darkness currently.
Okay, I have an action left, which I will use to take dodge.
Okay, so does dodge require having to see what's hitting you?
No. Well, so
Okay.
to get disadvantage on the attack roll, yes, but it also grants advantage on dexterity checks, but doesn't state that you have to see what's the cause.
Gotcha. Okay. So you scramble to the stairs. Brayden is holding that. Thomas is just out of the darkness. I will give you all a choice. Braynoon or Quinn, which one wants it?
I mean, just give it to me.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
use
give
that
it to him.
soundbite later.
I think we can a few clips together. All smashed out.
Do your worst, Dungeon Master. All right. Another one of these. Oh wait, and also make sure I do this right because I'm bad at these things.
I apologize. Did I need to make any saving throws?
Not currently.
Okay.
I've been keeping up on that. Okay, so that's a weird wording. I'm not gonna give you the benefit of the doubt on this one. We'll see what happens. Braynoon,
Mm-hmm.
as you are holding the hallway and you hear Quinn racing past you, a bit of relief kind of flooding you as you are still currently blinded, perhaps trying to deal with that situation. You hear this weird, like, and then all of a sudden, your backside is lit up with pain as you feel two direct strikes of some strange, almost like boiling heat force striking you, and you take 23 points of damage.
Is it elemental damage?
It is force damage.
Okay. All right. That is not something I can do anything about. So, all right. Well, technically, my held action was to hold until I was hit by an attack, so I'm going to attack in the direction the attack came from.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I'm actually...
Yeah, attack roll disadvantage.
Yep. Oh, I rolled a nat 20, but that is still an 18 to hit.
Okay. As you're wielding your hammer currently?
Hammer, yes.
Okay. As you swing around in a reaction, you arc your hammer through the air, and you just kind of wait to see if you hit anything. Just this like nice, perfectly executed swing, though unaware if anyone's there, before you feel your impact hitting the stone wall, the loud boom kind of following. What does it look like when Braynoon takes that much damage, sir?
I mean, for the most part, he is pretty much just going to try to power through it. Like, he's singularly focused at the moment. So, like, he, especially coming from behind, I just imagine, like, and especially force damage. Imagine there's a step forward. There's this, just trying to not get knocked over. His goal here is to get everybody out. And so he's just trying to hold his own as much as possible. Definitely a gritting of the teeth, probably some muttered curses in Dwarven, but just more concerned with the current objective than anything else. And so, yeah, just he's not happy, but he hasn't been for a while. So,
all right. So you would take that damage, grit to your teeth, and come to your turn, sir.
Well, as a bonus action, I will use Second Wind. So that's 1d10 plus 3. And that is 9, so I regain 12 hit points. Which makes me feel a whole lot better. And having felt and or heard 3 people run past me, I am going to just shield up kind of backwards my way up the stairs. Again, continuing to hold the line.
Yeah, because it's going to start getting messy about, someone's in front and everyone's crammed. They're like, whose action is what? What I'm going to rule here is everyone's just booking it up the stairs, right? Is that a fair assumption? Okay.
Pretty much.
I need all of you to give me one last wisdom saving throw. And Thomas, if you fail this, it's going to be bad.
Not important.
15 from Braynoon.
15 from...
Is a 9 okay?
Oh, fuck. Roll me a 1d8, sir.
A 1.
I would also like to state that Braynoon is taking the dodge action as his action, so...
1.
Wow, I just had to say something, didn't I? Okay. As all of you are shoving up the stairs, Thomas, you crack your head above the darkness. You pause for a moment, hearing all of the just absolute horror going on beneath you. And all of your inexperience hits you like a freight train. All of a sudden realizing that, this is it. You are in a life or death situation. This is something that you never wanted to be in. You were so much more comfortable in a library. This is a reality that your body was not prepared for, and you freeze. You cannot move. Your whole mind shuts down for a moment as you just stare at the singular staircase step in front of you, just contemplating bashing your face against it to get this all over with. You just halt. As Sven rams up behind you, Quinn behind him, Braynoon kind of shoving backwards at the bottom of the stairs. Yeah, okay. Would anyone try and do anything specific given that occurrence?
We can't see anything. We just noticed that Thomas is not moving.
Yeah, you are the one currently pressing up against Thomas, who is as still as a stone.
I mean, Sven would definitely be not so gently encouraging him upward,
Mhm.
to the point of, just kind of grabbing him around the waist and trying to haul him with him.
Give me an athletics check.
I'm so good at those. That is a delicious little 4.
Okay.
My
so-
weak spindly arms.
Thomas, as you are frozen, you feel Sven's grip on you, but your actual like senses of like understanding that someone is touching you almost feels disconnected, as you can tell he is trying to shove you, move you, lift you, push you, just trying to get you to move, very much in the reversal of this situation for the most part. And you just like find your feet stuck and your hands kind of loosely at your side. Quinn, are you attempting to do anything during this time?
I'm a little unclear on what I even know is happening other
Yeah.
than stuff is getting punched up in front of me.
Okay.
If I'm in the darkness, I can't do anything, so I'm
Yeah.
going to climb over. I'm going to climb over them like ants. Just that's all I
Okay.
can do. All I can think to do.
I think that's fair
Yeah.
enough. There's enough room, and you're probably dexterous enough just to like scramble over them, like maybe even use Sven's horn as like a handhold and just drag yourself over.
But not even intentionally, just reaching
Right.
out and grabbing whatever I
Mhm.
can, because I can't. I don't know what to do to help until I can see. So
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring you off the board. You would kind of be fighting over Sven and Thomas, and I guess you use both their horns. Hey, tieflings. You eventually end up kind of like pushing up and over Thomas, your head breaking that darkness, and you are staring kind of down at the back of his head as you see him just kind of stood straight up tall, kind of staring forward as you tumble over him, look back, and just see this look of like shock on his face.
I'll grab him by the horns and start trying to drag him up the stairs.
Give me athletics with advantage, because I'm assuming Sven is still
19.
All right, I think that is enough. As Thomas, you're not quite stirred out of your stupor, but you are forcefully being moved as Sven is shoving and Quinn is dragging, as you both manhandle this tiefling forward. Braynoon, you would hear this incredible commotion and the encroaching evil in the darkness as you were on the stair. I'm imagining you are backtracking.
Oh
As
yeah,
this is going up.
I'm bulldozing my way up the stairs at this point. So
Okay.
what I mean depends on how we're moving, but once we're 1 or 2 revolutions up the stairs,
Mhm.
I'm taking my hammer to them. Like, I don't want whatever's behind us following us up.
Okay.
I'm in demolition mode, trying as much as to limit it so it's not impeding us going up, but
Okay. You have the dwarven stone cutting. Go ahead and give me. Yeah, give me athletics with advantage for it.
perfect. We'll use this d20. That worked. Natural 20 for 25.
Hey, there we go. So as the heroic non-named party is fleeing up the stairs, Thomas, you're finally kind of getting your hands and your feet underneath you as you are removed from the sound that has caused you so much fear. I'm assuming Quinn and Sven still dragging you until you fully regain your capabilities. Braynoon, as you step out of the darkness and you're finally able to like gain your senses again, you start shifting up the stairs, and as you go, you would turn every so often and just swing the hammer in this beautiful arc, this loud thundering crack as metal meets stone, and the separation of these ancient building kind of forming and growing, and as you just keep striking it in places that like almost it's the Rain Man moment where all the numbers are just drifting by as you are like engineer like plans are being laid in your vision as you are striking all the weak spots of this staircase, as you see it begin to crumble and crack and fail as you are quickly shuffling upwards, kind of watching each step you just relied on kind of falling away from you, and you all make it out of immediate danger. But you all are alive. Congratulations.
Well, not all of us.
Oh. Oh,
The important
wow.
one.
I'm not heartbroken, but
So just to be clear, what's the blinded situation here?
Oh, at this point, you all would be
yeah.
able to see. Yes.
I mean, as far as the spittle or
Yeah,
whatever. Okay.
yeah.
That off of there. Okay.
So how do you all react to such a close shave?
Vomiting.
Keep moving away.
I'm assuming you all are continually...
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Brainoon is not saying a word. He's very quiet.
I keep looking back, where we came from, like looking back down the passageway, and where's the other guy?
Inside the belly of a monster, I think. Oh. I'm afraid we will most likely not be getting paid.
I'm gonna run outside and look for a green cloak.
Oh, you guys are not up to the top yet. You were still going
Yeah,
up the stairs.
We've got quite a
I'm
climb.
gonna finish going up the stairs and go outside and look for a green cloak.
Okay, so as you guys, I guess in silence and vomit, march your way back up this staircase that you had descended moments ago, you eventually reach where the staircase had been dug into by the hole in the rope ladder. And as you get up to the landing, I assume, Quinn, you're probably the first because you had gone over the others. As you look up, you are immediately spotted by a pair of eyes looking down, and you would quickly recognize a green hood over the face looking down at you. And you just see him, like, raise his eyebrow and kind of, like,
I'm not waiting for him to beckon me. I'm hauling ass up this passageway.
okay.
He can beckon his mother.
So, going up the... Yeah.
And as soon as I'm within like a reasonable distance, which might be right away, I'm going to tell him there's some kind of monster infestation down there. We lost a man. We need this brewery cordoned off.
It's already
bad things are
surrounded.
going on down there.
Please come out without your weapons drawn.
I'm still moving up.
Okay. So as the party move up the rope ladder, again, this being a somewhat arduous journey up to the surface, as Quinn, you're the first to break through, you move into the brewery where the scene of the frantic combat had taken place, and you see the building is packed full of green hoods. It is maybe 15 to 20 men. The one that you spot very quickly and recognize very quickly is Captain Kirith, the golden dragonkind that had introduced himself to your company on your first day in Messidore. And as you look up and spy him, he spies you, and there's just this look of like, yeah. As you get up onto the brewery floor, the green hood nearest you would reach for your weapon slowly and kind of wait for you to give him silent approval before he takes it from you.
Fucking no. I don't say anything, but I just sort of rest my hand on the hilt, like on top, just not to draw it, but just like palm the top of it, like, yeah, I got this. It's fine right where it is. And Captain, it's good that you're here. We've got a problem.
Clearly.
It doesn't matter anymore. I have a sneaking suspicion, so I can just tell you everything. We were hired by a bounty hunter who was going after a famous criminal called Longfinger. The men up here were hired by Longfinger to watch his back. They had closed down the brewery without any kind of approval, I'm more than certain. We got past them, down into the chamber. There's some sort of evil ritual taking place down there, as well as monsters that took our client down. And it's very dangerous.
I'm assuming you like get up enough to allow the others in the group to step out of the hole.
Oh yeah, I'm not
Okay,
trying to block
yeah.
anybody's way.
So as you all kind of come in and Quinn is giving this speech, the captain kind of just like watches you speak for a few moments, kind of nodding along, and as you finish, I suspect what you are saying is true, but that does not change the fact that we must figure out the particulars of the situation if you would disarm yourself.
I'll disarm
His
myself
weapon's over
outside of
with
this
nothing.
building. Those things are coming up the stairs.
Highly unlikely.
Can we reach a compromise in which you disarm yourself and we step outside?
Yep, no problem
Fine.
at all. I don't have any arms.
As
And
Sven-
this is gonna head past them if they'll let him out the door.
Oh, so as you go to step by, the captain would kind of reach a hand out and grab your shoulder. He's like, "Spell book, sir."
Yeah, right here. I'm gonna need it back though. I'll get it back, right?
If we figure out what has occurred here, I will return it to you. It is safe with me, I assure you.
Here you go.
I just told you what has occurred here. We don't have time for this.
I gave him my spell book.
Now, can I go?
Please step outside.
I'm gone.
Sure. Okay. He would basically, one at a time, wait for all of you to hand over whatever implement of war you carry.
So, once Sven is out and kind of in this situation, he's gonna try and lay hands onto the captain and like grip his cloak top and, Captain Carrothan, so glad you're here. These humans, they're awful. They don't know what they're doing. They're absolutely terrible. And then he's gonna launch into a tirade about how the employer was not prepared. How he fooled Sven into looking into an open door only to be attacked, and he's just gonna not stop talking in these complaints. And it was awful. I mean, look at my robes. Oh my god. 12,000 thread count. My goodness.
So about
Carrot,
maybe
please.
2 or 3 sentences into this, he just reaches up a gauntlet hand and just grabs your snout and holds it closed. I knew you would be trouble, but sir, I do not need your ramblings right now. Please hand over your wand and go outside. And then he would let go of your snout.
Just the wand? That's all he's asking for?
Yeah.
Don't you have a visible sword? Or whatever?
Yeah. Or am I just such a not a threat? He's like, the sword's not, it's decorative, clearly.
But I imagine, would you hand that over, sir?
Yeah, he'd, Sven will pull out the wand,
Mm-hmm.
hand over the sword, pull out his spell book from within the robes, like pat himself down. He goes, oh, but the piercings have to stay on, I'm sorry.
Just shake his head and wave you through. Braynoon, would you surrender your weapon, I'm assuming?
Without question.
All right. Wave you through. And then he would turn back to you, Quinn. This is a very
I-
simple procedure.
I hand it over to the guy that was trying to paw at me before.
Thank you for complying, sir. Now please step outside. So as you all are kind of shuffled out of the two double doors that you entered through, you would see that the two men that had been murdered in the arrival of Jolin have been kind of pushed off to the northern corner, well, not pushed, but replaced off in the northern corner of the brewery, where they're not in immediate view of the door. They have been covered in various different like cloaks or sheets, but it's very clear what those are. As you are led outside, the captain stays inside for a moment. You hear him kind of giving a few different orders, moving his men around the building before he would eventually follow you outside as you were lined up against the exterior wall. And he would step forward, turn, look at you all. There's this like moment of contemplation where he's trying to figure out what to say, but it just comes out as this like low sigh. And he reaches for a pouch on his left. He's like, "Are you all familiar with the Truth Stone?"
Are we?
I imagine that would, if it's something magical, I'd probably be familiar with it.
I would say certainly Quinn is aware of it. Braynoon probably. Sven and Thomas. Actually Sven, yes. Thomas maybe. It is a somewhat common device or procedure that various different, guards or police or authority use in the different, towns and cities of Talora. It is almost kind of like it's the zone of truth, but in a very compact form. It is a stone that the two people both touch, and there's a little bit of a process in which, interrogation or questioning, where the party cannot lie, and so on and so forth. It is basically used to compel the truth out of a situation such as this. But yes, he would pose that question to you all.
Enthusiastically hold my hand out, or however it works. I'm
Yeah.
ready to participate.
So he pulls out this yellow long crystal. It's maybe about 6 or 7 feet long, 7 inches long. And he rests it kind of in his palm so that the point kind of sticks out between his two fingers. And he would press it down into your palm, Quinn, as you're the first one to offer up. And you can attempt to repel it, but he would know if you did. So I'm imagining you're surrendering to it.
As soon as it touches my hand, I start repeating word for word what I already said inside.
Yeah. He would very quietly and just intently listen to what you say, kind of nodding along as you do, and eventually, "All right, I was suspicious, and we certainly have words to share, but at least I know that you are not the prime cause of this occurrence." And he would take the stone out of your hand. And then he would do the same thing for all of you, but I imagine you all would share a somewhat similar story.
This was Sven's opportunity to talk, and he's going to. As soon as it hits his palm, he was just and half weeping at the time, just keep talking until Kira stops him again.
Mm-hmm. So once you all go through the procedure, probably Sven taking the longest and clearly grinding on the captain's, what's the word I'm looking for, patience quite a bit. He would eventually pull the stone away, return to his pouch, kind of take a step back and look you all over. "Though you have not broken any laws, my disappointment with you all is immeasurable."
Sorry, Dad.
If we haven't broken any laws and we tried our best to fulfill the contract, what precisely are you disappointed in?
He kind of looks over at Quinn, who he very clearly is not a huge fan of, kind of narrowing his eyes. "You may think that this is a game, sir, but in this town, we respect lives and people, and your group left a swath of blood and evil in its wake for any passerby to see. What would have happened if a child had stumbled upon the scene that you had left. Do you have no concern?
Captain Kirith, no. What? It was children's foolish human. He killed those two.
And that prevented you from closing the door or asking for a green hood.
Wait. Let me get this straight. There's still an evil ritual going on under our feet, by the way.
We've sent
And
for real individuals to deal with it.
we broke up what is obviously a criminal operation that had commandeered this brewery. And your main complaint is that we didn't go find an adult?
My main complaint is that you took the law into your own hands. And while you did have the authority to slay these men, they were not butchering you as far as I can tell.
They attacked us first. I don't.
Yeah, give me the stone again.
There is a grunt from Braynoon when Thomas says that.
If you cannot admit that there was some sloppiness on your part in this situation, then I fear that there is something deeply wrong with your moral judgment.
Thomas is quiet.
I cannot imprison you, but I do not approve of your actions. Since you have done enough damage here, I'm going to ask you all to leave with your weapons being returned to you, and I certainly hope that you do not operate any further in the town.
Well, we can't promise that.
Well, hopefully you can at least attempt to operate a bit cleaner next time.
Captain Kirith, if we do any more work, I promise you we will discreetly hide the bodies.
I wish your word was worth more than air.
Can't live without air. And I'm gonna go find the guy that has my sword.
But he would give you a very disapproving look as you all get your items returned and leave. As you are leaving, you would spot a somewhat familiar face coming down the road, and it would be Tanner with about 4 or 5 individuals behind him walking up to the brewery.
Is this the other Adventurers Guild guy?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I knew it.
He would not begin a conversation, but as he passes you by, he would give each of you a look and keep walking.
Are you going down to the area that we just came from?
Aye. We've heard you've made quite a mess.
Well, yes, it's not ideal, but here's what we know, and I'll give him everything I can think of.
He would,
help
actually sit there and take it. And he's like, "Oh, that's nice of you." And he'd reach down and give you a silver piece.
Thank you.
Go get your rest up. You're looking sick.
When you said you were sending for men for the job, I was sure that you meant green cloaks.
Are you speaking to the captain at this point?
Yeah.
My men are trained in dealing with more civil matters. Evil and
Babysitters.
the law, sir. It is what keeps us all in harmony. You may leave now, sir.
Yeah, it should be noted, as soon as we were dismissed, Braynoon disappeared. Like, one off on his own.
Okay. But Tanner would give you his appreciation, Thomas, and his silver, and then move his men towards the brewery, unless there is anything else to be said.
I think Sven would be complaining to the guards or the Green Hoods as he's taking his stuff back, and just whining about the humans, how it's all their fault. They're just too new of a species who doesn't know their place, and probably just badgering them with his opinions as he's like,
I guess I will move you all back onto the Messidorian map. Okay, well, after that, assembly, what are you all doing?
Going back to the Ember Boar, I have to, I'm looking for Camus, but Ayla will do.
Okay. I guess, is the Thomas and Sven following that, or are you all going a different route?
no,
No.
Sven would head.
Okay. Braynoon, what are you doing, sir?
I am. Roughly what time of day is it now?
Man, how long did that take? I mean,
Because it was like early afternoon or something when we got to the brewery in
Yeah.
the first place.
I mean, we're probably talking, we're inching into evening, if not in evening. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically I'm gonna spend the next few hours just wandering the streets, basically going through in my head everything that happened today, what went wrong, what could have been done differently, blah blah blah. And as the sun gets lower, Braynoon's anger is still pretty high, so I'm actually gonna find an inn to stay at tonight because I am not confident I can face my companions at the moment without physical confrontation. So yeah, I do not return to the guild house tonight.
All right. So Quinn, as you make your way through Messidore with the two acolytes in tow, right? I guess technically they're graduated, so you would arrive back at the Emberborg. As far as I'm aware. But as you arrive back at the Emberborg Guild, it is, getting evening, somewhat close to nighttime. It's probably somewhere around the time that Ayla might depart, but she is still there. As you push through the door, she'd be behind the desk, kind of looks up excitedly, especially seeing you. She's like, "Did you apprehend him?"
It's bad. It's bad news. Camus in.
Is everyone all right? Where's
No.
Braynoon?
Probably cooling off somewhere.
Yes, Camus is in his office. Are you okay?
We're okay. The client's dead.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my report to him now before things get any farther out of hand.
Yes, of course. Oh shit. And then you go back to his office.
So I stride into the office and invite myself to a seat.
As you step in, Camus is sat at his desk, and you see that he's like when someone's been working on something for far too long, like fingers on his temples, like staring at his desk. And as you step in, he glances up, goes, what now?
I went south pretty fast. The client's dead. And Captain Golden Bookend is not happy.
You see him kind of
apparently they're playing favorite.
You get this kind of like almost what's the word, like a confirmative, like yeah, okay, kind of look on his face before he like scoots back his chair. And as you're still speaking, he's just like looking at the ground. He walks over, closes the door to his office, reaches up to the shelf nearby and grabs a bottle, comes over to the desk, sits down, pulls 2 cups out, sets it on his desk, puts one in front of you. All right, start from the beginning.
So I go through the whole tale, including how, in Quinn's opinion, the client was a a show off with a chip on his shoulder, and how they infiltrated the brewery. Quinn actually doesn't know how the fight started.
Mhm.
He was outside. But I think if I have the timeline correct, I think that he came in soon enough to see that Jolin was slicing and dicing.
Yeah, he had
He
stabbed
would have
the
had
first guy, but that might have been unclear. You certainly would have seen him attacked and then stab the second guy.
yeah. So definitely include that piece.
Mhm.
Then describe the conversation with the guys in the brewery, the negotiation with them, then down into the depths and everything that Quinn saw, and then the encounter with the Green Hoods, in which Quinn admits to Camus that his aggravation at the priorities of the Green Hoods led to some mounting off on his part, and then he came straight here.
So after all of this, he kind of leans back in his chair a bit, and it's almost kind of hard to read what emotion or I guess like thought is initially on his mind. But he just kind of like gestures his head down at the glass. He's like, "Drink that first." Give me a Constitution saving throw.
That's gonna be 16 plus 3, 19.
Okay. As you take a swig of it, it is incredibly salty to the point you think you just downed like a shot glass of seawater, is like your initial reaction. But then all of a sudden, the really bitter and almost kind of unexpected taste shifts to this weird sweetness and then kind of slithers down your throat. It just begins to kind of force your gag reflex to kind of like start up, but you hold it back well enough. And he just kind of like watches your reaction, kind of gives an approving nod. The Green Hoods are a bunch of fucking stick-up-their-ass bitches, but, the captain is a reasonable enough man, but I'm sure he was not overly pleased, and I'm sure I'll have to do some fucking horn polishing.
Not sure I've heard that one before. I like that.
I'm glad I have your approval. I fucking knew you guys would do this shit. A steel contract. Are you aware of what ranks are and how they work?
We are.
Insightful.
I don't know if there's an excuse that will make you happy. I will sit here and recite it, but we thought we could handle it.
And what lesson have you learned?
Don't work with amateurs.
You're new to
I
this.
give him a smirk. Like, I know what he wanted me to say, but
Yeah, I mean the dynamic going on right now is he understands what you're offering, and while he like almost wants to lean into it, there is that amount of like I gotta be the bad dad kind of vibe going on. But yeah, he like gives a little grunt. He's like, half of the art, and it is an art, even though it is a bunch of bullshit, of picking contracts is knowing who you are working for and investigating them as much as investigating whatever target there is. Is that understood?
yes.
And I hope, given your colorful background, that you would take this to heart and potentially improve upon this in the future.
I read you.
Well, I'm assuming the rest of them are just about as rosy as you are. Are they in the main room?
The two wizards weren't in quite as much of a hurry, I don't think, but they should be behind me. Brainoon, can't say.
Kind of like takes a second having to remember everyone's names and like nods, and he reaches down and kind of like pinches the bridge of his nose. He's like, fucking dwarves, I swear to the fucking thread, every goddamn little short motherfucker. And he just starts like walking towards the door and shoves it open. And Thomas and Sven, who I'm assuming you are mingling in the front room, would see Camus kind of like stomping by. He would look over at you, kind of give you a quick up and down. He's like, injured? You alright?
Fine.
Sven would have actually disrobed right in the front room in just his, silk underwear embroidered with his name, and be prestidigitating his robes as like furiously as he can. No, do you see this damage? He's pointing all the rips and like the stains in his robe.
Looks over at you, Thomas, first. Pointy. You don't look, happy.
I'm not. Would you like me to expand on that?
Would it make you feel better?
Yes.
I'm all ears. Kind of shifts back against the wall.
It's my understanding that we take jobs that are vetted and that have some measure of legitimacy to them, and in the course of that job, we either A, are going to be successful, or B, not, but either way, they should operate within the bounds of the law. And our employer put us in a position that may have been crossed with the law. Is this something that is going to be a common occurrence?
Pointy. Show me your
My name
wrists. Thomas. Show me your wrists. Are there shackles on them?
Oh, for the love of God, yes. We're under a contract. I can't leave. I'm only here because of a mistake. I'm trying to make the best of it, but... Sorry, I've not been stressed like this before. And we made a mistake today. I'd look over at Sven, and we initiated combat when perhaps it wasn't necessary. But it was in a non-violent manner, and then before we could do anything, our employer just went in and started killing everybody. And at that point, we're committed. And I can't support being a part of that sort of wanton violence that could have easily been talked out of. And it was talked out of. They were more mature, and
We were very ready to just do drugs and talk. I don't understand.
I think you have already learned the lesson that I would offer up. This is part of your job description, though it isn't the rosiest part of it. You must deal with non-hospitable people. You must judge character. You must try to avoid events such as these, and then deal with the consequences when you cannot. Now, both of you, get some food in you. Purple, get your fucking clothes back on. And I will be back. And he starts walking towards the door.
Thomas has no appetite. I would sit down in the couch in the main living room and just stare at the wall.
So, Brainoon, what kind of establishment would you be seeking, sir?
So it would probably be somewhere in the Dwarven Quarter. And other than that, at this point, some place where people are going to leave me alone, where it's not likely. Like, basically, it would be I'd be walking in, asking for a room, buying a bottle of something, and then disappearing into the room. Like, not in any sort of common room, not in any, like, just looking for some self-isolation where the only person I can hurt is myself.
So you probably get about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 of the isolation that you seek, kind of hearing the, ambiance of the actual building itself, kind of the other patrons going about their business, before your thoughts are interrupted by heavy footsteps and your mind kind of immediately begins to paint a picture of the familiar footsteps before you hear this dum 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 dum. Dwarf.
Nope, I'm gonna make him knock again.
You hear him breathing outside your door, like this steady inhale, exhale, and you hear the latch start. I'm assuming if you locked the door.
Oh, absolutely.
Dwarf, if you do not open this fucking door, I'm gonna be very upset.
I will get up, methodically undo the lock, open the door, and then I go back to sit in whatever chair or whatever I was in.
Kind of looks at you, looks back at the hallway, steps in, swings the door closed. You don't seem in the proper mood, dwarf.
That's why I'm here and not back at the guild hall.
You served in the Navy, right?
I did.
When something went wrong in the Navy, did you jump ship and start drowning yourself?
In the Navy, there is a set of rules and discourse for how things are handled and behavior in certain situations. My experience today reminded me that that is not the case here. The individuals I serve with did not have training before coming here. They had no sort of experience into what they're doing. They only react. And it was those reactions that caused the problem today.
Gun sneezes in the guild hall.
He kind of like nods along, and you see him. Camus is not usually the silent type, but he stares down at the floorboards for maybe like 30 seconds, which is an incredibly long period of time to be silent with Camus. And he kind of looks back up at you. Nah, as soon as those fucking wizards came in, the guild likes to flout all this honor and nonsense, and we're doing right and for the people, but these contracts and the people that they send me are just... it's like sending a cow to the butcher. I was hoping that you and, Elf would attempt to perhaps harden their edges before biting on steel. That was a pretty clever one. I'll keep that for later.
Reading doesn't laugh, but there's just kind of that grunting chuckle type of thing. But
I imagine that you all will be forever changed, as the poets would say, I suppose, after this outing of yours. Can I assume that you'll have a bit more of a rein on their endeavors, or should I try and find a way to cut you loose?
I'm not looking to leave. However, I intend to have a conversation with the group, and at the moment, I'm more likely to punch them than I am to talk to them, so I need to cool off first. You'll see me in the morning.
Some of my best conversations have started with a punch, either receiving or giving. I wouldn't recommend punching Pointy. He might actually perish.
I'm not sure how Sven would take it either.
Purple's gonna give me a fucking condition. Well, I was gonna drag her ass back to the guild hall, but I am half of you fucking sturdy little bitches, so I guess I can understand.
This is a question I've been meaning to ask for a while. How old do I gauge Camus to be?
So elves and dwarves have loosely close expectancy. So dwelves, probably about the same. So if you had to wager a guess, I mean, he's probably 200 more, somewhere in that range. Like, he's in that age of dwarf/elf where, like, it's kind of hard to judge because, you know, year by year doesn't change much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's just. I appreciate it. As I said, you'll likely hear me in the morning if you don't see me.
Well, that's gonna be a shit fucking tomorrow. And he starts going towards the door.
I look at whatever bottle I had purchased, and it's like mostly gone, and I just kind of hand it to him as he leaves.
Kind of.
And yeah, and I call it a night.
All right. Is there anything that you all would do before the next morning, or I guess what would be everybody's activity until tomorrow morning?
Seeing that.
I'll sit down with Thomas before I just bounce, since he seems to be really shaken. Probably right after Camus left. And then just kind of sit there and say, we'll look around for Ayla and kind of, you know, see if she will join us.
She's kind of like at her desk, and she clearly has not been working as like all of this is going on. But as soon as you kind of like gave her a look, she'd start waddling over.
And then once she sits down with us as well, then I'll start talking to Thomas and say, it was ugly. It went bad. I'm not going to pretend that it didn't. We were probably cocky after our previous successful contract. But what happened isn't your fault. At least from what I could see, that guy was going to get himself killed sooner or later. We were just unlucky enough to be with him.
Yeah, he yeah. I've never seen anybody die like that before. And all I can think of is that he probably didn't, those two men, they didn't deserve to die. They were just hired like we were to do a job, and somebody's doesn't have a dad or a boyfriend or a husband anymore.
Ayla, who's sat across or on the other side of you from Quinn, kind of like reaches her hand down and just like rests it on your thigh, just like in a very like comforting kind of way, just to have like some sort of physical touch. Just kind of like pats your robe gently. She's like, Thomas, the world is very, very dark sometimes, and It's very jarring to be faced with it, but I am very glad that you all returned. Well, I guess we'll see Brainun in the morning. I have seen far too many of you reach a much more dismal end. So I am very grateful that even though you saw some horrors, that you have returned back to the guild.
Did keep thinking of those two men. We made it back, but they didn't.
Everyone has to make their own choices, Thomas.
Yeah.
All we can do is try and make better choices and learn. Much like research, but in a much more personal sense.
Brings up something been meaning to talk about, and assumed I'd be telling this to Brainun, but he's not here, so Quinn, Sven and I are young. We're not good at this. I mean, we're competent in our own way, but in these real world situations, we need more direction than we've been getting. We're not all equal members of this group. If you rely on Sven or I to be making choices that have much impact until we've had more life experience, we're gonna see more of this happen. I'm not saying we need have a group leader or anything so formal, but I'm not doing anything until you or Brainun give us an indication that it's a good idea. And I found out what acting on my own impulses led to. My friend of many years he's not dead, thank God, but he's not here anymore. I've never... No. I mean, my first instinct was to set the brewery on fire to flush people out, but even that, looking back, was stupid. That was somebody's business. It didn't have any reason to be burned down.
I thought you were gonna scout the place and come back out.
Yeah, well, what I did was make Mr. Sparkles push over a lantern and try to burn it down to flush everyone out. I figured it would be safer if we dealt with people out on the street instead of where they were at. It didn't work, but it's my decision making that is flawed, not necessarily the actions. And Sven, I mean, I don't mean to... This isn't coming off judgmental, I hope, but you put yourself firmly in the middle of a situation that if they were intent on hurting us, you were cut off from our ability to help you. And
No, you're very right, Thomas.
and then running off with Jolin, Sven, that could have been you that got devoured and shit out by some eye monstrosity I've never even heard of. And you're annoying as any being I've ever encountered, but you're my friend. Don't be stupid like that anymore.
Thomas, my dear fellow, I love you too. No. Rest a hand on Thomas's shoulder. I agree. We're not cut out for this. none of our studies, none of our training. I was blinded. It's terrible.
You're wrong. We're certainly cut out for this. We're just not good at it yet.
No, the ogres were a fluke, a momentary stroke of luck.
All right, this is what you can't do, okay? Thomas, believe it or not, it would have been better if we had come up with a plan before taking that kind of action, but I happen to think that your instincts were not bad. We just didn't get a chance to go over the mission plan before you bring it to action. But that's not bad thinking. And Sven, we're gonna have wins and losses. But this is just the first of many. And when Braynon comes back, we're going to talk about what happened. And Thomas, I think you're right. It's a good idea for us to have somebody calling the shots out there. So we're gonna get this straightened out, and we're gonna get back on the horse.
Ben, are you in agreement with me that Braynon or Quinn could give the group more direction?
I trusted myself and the client, and it turned out terribly. Yes, I think I shall accept any requirements of our two companions, as they do seem a little bit more experienced.
Much more experienced. They're not nearly as smart as we are, but they're more experienced.
Too true. There is such a difference between intellect and wisdom, and I think we have learned that. Mr. Quinn, you are so wise.
Uh-huh.
You weren't hurt, Quinn. You were in a precarious situation and did remarkably well.
One of the first things you have to learn is not to lose your head.
Someone should have told Jolyn that.
I kind of hold Thomas's eyes after that statement.
As this very awkward moment goes, Ayla would kind of squeeze your thigh again and kind of like catch your eye to like look up at you. Like, did you mention that your familia was dispelled, Thomas?
Yes, I'd go into town. I don't even have the components to resummon him.
I was going to recommend we could go do that if it would bring you some comfort.
Quinn, I imagine he's frightfully lonely. I keep him with me most often. And he's never been hurt before. And I've got some apologizing to do.
Why don't we go gather the necessary components and bring him back?
Be great. Thank you, Ayla.
Yes.
Does anybody need anything while we're out?
She kind of looks at Sven and gives him a quick like.
Well, and he'll start like mumbling to himself, thinking of things.
Everyone, get some good rest, and I shall return with Thomas momentarily.
Thomas, I'll make you some porridge, as you were so kind to do when we first arrived.
I'm really not hungry. I'll eat something in the morning. I'm not feeling
the snuff, I would probably just throw it up.
Hmm.
But thank you.
Oh, yeah. And Sven will go over to his robes on the other side of the couch in that front room, pull out his money bag, and take out the what is it? I think like 10 gold for the incense and take that out and hand it over to Thomas. And I feel terrible. Please, this is all I really can do for you, but I miss him too.
Thank you, old friend. I'll take the money and here. Give it to Ayla. That should cover what we need.
Quinn, take care of yourself, and we shall be back.
I'll be here.
That is where we'll take our 10-minute break. And take their 10-minute break they did, though my internet went out during the second half of this recording, so I shall quickly recap the adventures of our honorable heroes as they deal with the consequences of their rather tragic contract. They return back to the Emberboar Guild, where Braynoon and the rest of the group have a very thorough discussion on tactics and the procedures going forward. This ultimately leads to Braynoon being somewhat elected as the group leader, at least temporarily, and then the group deciding to take the Kobold contract they had passed up to take the bounty contract that went oh so well. As the day is spent preparing to leave and gathering equipment and the like, the party prepare to head north towards the town that holds their potential redemption on another contract that hopefully goes a bit better than the last one.